All right, let's dive into the magical world of a story called The Hidden Treasure of Thoughts by the wonderful Daria Diran. It all kicks off with this really interesting idea about how people come into the world. See, in this world, it's not about being rich or poor or good or bad. It's about being born important or being one of the others. And our story? Well, it's about one of those others, a boy who pretty much tumbled into life on a rainy day, just like one of the raindrops. And his name was Yelkenkulak. Fun fact, that name means sail ear, which is a little hint about his big, noticeable ears that looked like they could catch the wind. Yeah, from the very beginning, you could tell he was different. Now, his parents were like night and day. You had his father, Ağırel, a fisherman who always smelled like the sea and just felt distant. His hands were like oars, and let's just say his presence often meant trouble. But then there was his mother, Altenkalp. Even though she was always tired from work, she filled their home with so much warmth. And, maybe more importantly, the amazing smell of his favorite cheese pastries. It really didn't take them long to figure out that Yelkenkulak just didn't see the world the same way everyone else did. I mean, he'd spend hours just counting his own fingers, like they held some kind of secret. And he would have these long, super detailed chats with people that nobody else could see. So, as you can imagine, the other kids, they thought he was a bit strange. But Yelkenkulak, he didn't mind one bit. He had already found his own friends, these tiny, hopping little miracles he'd find in fields and gardens. His pockets were never, ever empty. They were always rustling with his secret little grasshopper buddies. So one totally normal day, Yelkenkulak and his mom get on this packed city bus. And hidden away in his pocket, completely unknown to anyone else, are his little friends, who are just about to turn this very boring trip into total, absolute chaos. As the bus is just kind of rumbling along, his mom, Altenkalp, is completely lost in her own happy little daydream. She's picturing her beautiful garden, planning out exactly how she's finally going to beat her annoying neighbor, Uzunburun, and win that most beautiful garden plaque. And then, a sound just slices right through her thoughts of winning. It wasn't just a sound, it was a scream. And then another one. Her daydream just completely shatters, and she's yanked right back into the loud, chaotic reality of the bus. Yep, the pocket couldn't hold the secret any longer. It was like a green wave just exploded from Yelkenkulak's side, filling the entire bus with these tiny, buzzing little bodies. They were landing on people's hats, on their newspapers, on their shoulders. The bus wasn't a bus anymore. It was a jar of chaos that had just been shaken up and opened. At first, it was just confusion, someone swatting at something by their ear. That pretty quickly turned into annoyance as more people felt the little tickle of tiny legs. And then, when the air just filled with them, annoyance became fear, and fear became a full-on stampede to the back of the bus. And right through all the shrieking and the chaos, you start to hear these sharp little whispers flying around. And they're all aimed in one direction. Not at the boy, but at his mother. The judgment was fast, and it was brutal. For what felt like a very long time, Altenkop was just frozen. I mean, her son got into trouble, but this was a whole new level. This was a masterpiece of chaos. And then, that ice of her shock started to crack. And what was underneath? Oh, it was boiling hot rage. Her peaceful garden daydream was completely gone, replaced by a storm. And right in the middle of that storm was one single target, her son. And so the chase began. It was this crazy, chaotic dance. While all the passengers were scrambling to get away from the grasshoppers, Yelkenkulak was scrambling towards them, trying so desperately to catch and save his friends. And weaving through all of it was Altenkalp, with her eyes locked on only one thing, her son. The chaos hits its absolute peak when one single grasshopper takes this fateful leap and lands right on the nose of the bus driver. The driver yelps, jerks the wheel, and this massive bus starts lurching like crazy from side to side before it just slams to a stop. In the sudden, dead silence that came after the screeching tires, a single, pained cry echoed through the bus. Altenkulp had found her target. She had Yelkenkulak, tight by his sail-like ear, and was dragging him down the steps and out onto the street. And just like that, it was done. The noise, the screaming, the hopping, all of it vanished.
It was replaced by this heavy, ringing silence on the side of a busy road.
That walk home, it was a march of shame. Altenkulp's anger hadn't cooled down one bit. Every few steps, she'd break the silence with a new threat, and every single time it ended with the same promise. His father was going to hear about every single thing that happened. With his shoulders slumped and all his friends gone, Yelkenkulak just felt this deep, deep sadness. His mom was furious. His dad's punishment was waiting for him. The world just felt impossibly heavy. Living, he thought to himself, was really hard. But in that moment of just complete and total defeat, when it felt like all the magic was gone from the world, something very small was about to change the story one last time. He was just trudging along, totally resigned to his fate. Was this it? Was this the end of all his adventures? Had every one of his little miracles left him for good? Almost, without even thinking about it, he slipped a hand into his pocket. You know, the scene of the crime. He was expecting to find nothing but lint. But instead, his fingertips brushed against something. A tiny, familiar little flicker of life. He pulled it out. It was a single grasshopper, a lone survivor. It just clung to his finger, and as he looked down at it, he felt this message pass between them, a silent promise, spoken in a language that only he could possibly understand. It told him that the chaos on the bus, that wasn't the end. No way. It was only the beginning.